Most real estate agents never really make money in probate real estate. It's not because probate real estate isn't a great niche to work. It's because the systems they're taught are broken. Cold calling heirs, cold calling attorneys, mailing out letters, very expensive. These are all methods that the coaching companies who sell the data and sell the mailing systems encourage. But for the most part, they don't really work. In my experience, less than 1% of the people who go down that path ever build a business that's worth it. I start down that path and I've used their coaching and information to build a real business that's duplicatable. The conversion rate on phone calls is like 0.5%. A cost per listing could be $1,200. That's for the listing appointment. If you get 1 in 3, 1 in 4, the costs go up. And it's a grind every day to have to make those phone calls, and they're hard to do. If you want a different way, if you want a different solution, find a different process procedure. And if that's the case, stay with me. I'm going to show you a system that I've used to build my business. I'm Bill Gross. I am the founder of the LAProbateexpert.com. I spent the last 4 years in real estate, the last 6 years in building a business in probate, generating business as commissions, as well as real estate investment opportunities, as well as related income, all from the probate business by making myself an expert. I've listed and sold hundreds of properties at this point. I've trained 500 agents on how to improve their business. I have the podcast Probate Weekly. And I call this system, I recommend, 2 bites of the apple, because you're helping somebody as a way to get a listing as a lead, as well as showing them listings. I'm going to show you the exact system I've used, the exact playbook I used. And this is something you can use in your area. You can use it in my area because the market's so big, we're probably never going to overlap. So here's the problem. There's got to be a better way. The systems we have don't work. When you send out cold calls and then you send out mailers, mail could be $1 per, 2 per. You have a couple hundred leads, that's a couple $100 per month. The mailing companies will tell you have to mail out to them consistently 5 times, 6 times. So that means 100 a month, could be 500 or 600 the first month, could be 1,000 to 1,200 the second month, and so on until you go broke. The other thing is most heirs aren't ready to do anything when you call them up front. The agents who buy the leads think it's about being the first to the filing, and that does help some who are ready to decide. But most heirs aren't ready to decide for 6 months, a year, or longer. How do you have a system to stay in touch with them? They have a problem. The problem they have is, in order to file probate, they have to come up with fees and costs on top of attorney's fees. To file in a petition in Los Angeles, $347. You have to send out notices. You have to publish in the paper. That could be $500 to $1,000, depending on where you do that. Then you have other costs associated with the property, and then the attorney will ask for a deposit or retainer towards their fees. So most people don't have the $5,000 or $7,000 it takes, and therefore compromise either choosing the cheapest realtor, cheapest attorney, which can be the worst, or no attorney, which gets them stuck in the mud. That's the problem. On top of all the things they have to do now, they are stuck in the mud, and then you're calling them regularly and mailing them. They don't even have the authority yet to do anything, or if they do, they can't get much further than that because they did it on their own. So what's the hidden truth? The hidden truth is heirs are equity rich but cash poor. So they have net worth, and there are times that these heirs you talk to are worth $500,000, $1 million or more. But they don't have the money to pay for the funeral expenses in many cases. They have the money to pay to get the court filing started. They don't have a listing problem today. They have a cash problem. And that's, if you solve that problem, you've now shown them that you're a problem solver. And you've earned the right to solve the next problem, which might be selling the property. So let's talk about what the advance is. And this is the solution. A probate advance industry gives heirs $5,000 to $20,000, usually in 7 to 10 days. Now, whether you know it or not, on every probate filing, my experience is there's multiple companies mailing them postcards and letters, offering them these advances. None of them cold call. It's not worth it to them because they're not going to stick around to list the property. It's also not worth it to them because they're typically working a very large geography rather than a narrow area they can help people with. And again, if you have 2 bites of the apple, if you're both looking to sell the advance and the listing, you have a higher incentive to go after them. There are about 24 different companies I've identified, and as part of my program, I give you a list of those people. But some of them will get a probate advance, but because they're working on large numbers, they're slow, they're not so effective, and what they'll do sometimes is turn down a good deal that somebody else could fund, but the heir now is frustrated and thinks they're not fundable. They'll tell the heir, you're not fundable for this reason. I've taken many people who got declined, took them to second or third company and got them funded because I knew that we could get it done at some point in time. So I built a 60-page report that lists them all, their phone numbers, so you can go from one to another to another. You can learn the methodologies. You can pick out 2 or 3 to meet relationships with, and you can download all that free at LAProbateExpert.com. But here's the part that's going to change your business is if you get them that cash, you get paid twice because you're helping them get authority to sell the property. And then if you're in line, you get a chance to sell the property. Now, one thing you need to know is these advances, it's like 2 bites of the same apple. Because if you get them $10,000, you'll get a commission of $500 to $1,000 depending which company you go with. On a $20,000 advance, you'll get $1,000 to $2,000. Now, you can use that yourself as commission. I've done that when I needed some cash quickly. That was something I've gone to. When I wanted to scale out my business, I hired a telemarketer and used that money to pay them. I offered them $25 an hour, and here's how the numbers work. I offered them $25 an hour, and they would make 20 phone calls, 20 hours of calling to get 1 commission. So I got a $1,000 check. I gave them the $500 covered their hourly costs. I gave them a $100 bonus. I still made $400, but more importantly, I know how to relationship with somebody who needed the money. I solved this problem, and by the way, part of the problem is finding the right attorney. I was able to make the right attorney referral. Now that attorney owes me as well. In some regards, that's like 3 bites of the apple, but we'll just call it a 2 since I made the graphic. We're not going any further than that. So again, you get money when you do the advance, you get money when you list the property, and hopefully you develop a relationship with the attorney. You have a chance to do some more business with them down the road. Now I have 3 different examples of this. Let me prove that it works. These are 3 real families I've worked with in the past and helped them get cash that result in listings. One was I call the squatter eviction. We had a squatter that was not just your average, pay him a couple $1,000, get rid of him. This was a hardcore, you needed a state-of-the-art eviction attorney, filing cases, lawsuit, go to court, the whole thing. Cost about $30,000, $40,000. But because we got the squatter out, the house went up in value by $160,000. And so for that $30,000 money, now you can sell the property with a tenant in there. In some cases we do that. But in this case, we knew we could add great value by getting rid of them. And so by advancing the attorney's fees for the eviction process, by getting that $30,000, not by the heir paying it, but by the advance company, obviously got a commission on the advance. We got rid of the squatter and helped save some money. Another example is partition action. We had a waiter, it turns out, very, very modest, heir to property with another heir that he had a bad relationship with. In this case, you could sell your half interest, but it's hard to sell half interest in a property. It was kind of an odd property. It was a small commercial property. So it was worth about $300,000, his share, $600,000 total. But the other partner wanted to buy him on the cheap because he couldn't sell it on the open market. Well, in California, there's a process called partition action. I'm not an attorney, but we found one that consulted with him. He gave him a retainer. And by sending a letter, and then my experience is you have to file not file the lawsuit, send the lawsuit saying we're going to file it. Then the other party realizes they're going to have to pay to defend themselves. And my experience is 9% of the time they fold like a house of cards. In this case, we got this waiter about $5,000 advance to pay for the petition attorney, and he netted about an extra $150,000 because we sold the property to full value. The third one is what we're going to call the shotgun rider. And that one would have been, oops, let me get my notes real quick. That was one where the mother and daughter were terrified that she was going to get cheated by her family member and was being cheated by a family member. She didn't have any money. She was destitute. And so what we did is we hired a shotgun rider attorney, meaning an attorney who all he did was just checked all the paperwork, make sure everything was done, talk to the other attorney. She was coming into $500,000. And so for a $10,000 advance, we were able to get a great attorney, one of the best in LA, one of the best firms, to just ride with her to make sure she got her $500,000 as quick as possible. Now, it's true, you might say, instead of getting $500,000, she got $490. But in her mind, she was panicked. She couldn't even sleep at night worrying that she was going to get cheated. In this case, she got her money and it all worked out. So again, this is a case where I solved the problem and end up selling the house as well. Okay, so we talked through the eviction and partition action, the shotgun rider. Okay, so here's the pattern. The pattern is that the heir has a problem they can't solve. It could be a squatter, it could be another heir, it could be the personal representative they don't trust. It could be fixing the property up, securing the property. There's a million possibilities. They have a problem. 2, the advance brings in the cash and solves the problem. There are many problems in real estate that we solve with cash. Now, I recommend doing this for remodeling or cosmetic cleanup. It's too expensive. The money costs money, costs about 20, 30% premium. So if they're going to borrow $10,000, they pay back $12,000 or $13,000. But they can get $5,000 to $20,000 in 7 days. They can get money for getting an attorney. They get money for an ex parte action for rush case. And what happens is this cash unlocks a specialist. Rather than getting an attorney that maybe is the cheapest or the only one that would accept them, this gets them the best attorney for that job. And as a real estate professional, my job is to know various attorneys and find the best one for that job for each of my customers. So what I did is I took all of this information in my experience and put it all together, the scripts, the directory, the case studies, the partnerships, and put it into a 4-module program I call Get Probate Cash Now. And it's a program that you can implement this entirely within a week. And I'll show you everything that's inside it. Let me pull up the screen. 4 modules I record. Company advanced directory. Actually, we added a new company in yesterday's directory. Application forms and underwriting checklists that probate advanced companies use. So you can learn how they work. The 3 real case studies. The 10-minute 2 bites of the apple video sales letter that you can use to send out if you want to via email. Email scripts you can use. They're both outreach, follow-up, and pitches to partners. Dream 100 list, meaning how to make a list of your best prospects for referrals, would be attorneys, investors, or wholesalers for you, what your best list is. We'll show you how to do that. The Santa Claus delivery script, when you deliver the check, how you're like Santa Claus. I'm Jewish. I get to play Santa Claus. I have the white beard and white hair. The total value of this program is $3,876. And kind of working with a consultant, we came up and we could package this together for $497 or 3 payments of $167. Now, this is the launch price, and you get a money-back guarantee. On your first deal, if you do $10,000, you get at least $500. So all you do is start this process. You're guaranteed with your first deal to pay for it. But I'll give you a money-back guarantee that you will generate a deal or get your money back. And you look at the details on the money-back guarantee for that. So that's what we call the value stack. And I would say it's free on the first deal. You get a $10,000 advance fee. You'll get $1,000, maybe $500, depending on the company you go with. But let's say $500 will cover the fee. Now, if you shop with a $1,000 company, you can get $500 and use it to pay your ISA and cover your tuition. And if the same area lists with you, you get a $10,000 commission there, and you make money. And of course, you've come out way ahead overall. So again, I think it's a great opportunity for you to learn this tool that I've used. We have a couple of different options. We have the most popular, which is self-study. That's $497 or 3 payments of $167. And then we have a mastermind for premium users who want that. It's $997 or 3 payments of $347. You can do it either way. The self-studies I mentioned has the 4 video modules, 24 company directory, forms, checklists, case studies, email scripts, Dream 100 list, comes with money-back guarantee. The mastermind also comes with a monthly live Q&A with me, with a done with you offer build. We'll help build the systems for you through my vendor, and a private mastermind community of people who are actually committed to working the system and make it work. So pick your tier. I think definitely start with the mastermind, with a self-study. And then if you find value there and hopefully get your money back, you can reinvest and step up to the mastermind if that's something you want to do. Okay, so this launch price ends Sunday. You're getting this email opportunity on a Monday, and we're going to do some follow-up emails, but we're going to raise the price after it's live because we're going to get some sales right away, and we're going to raise it to, this is how my consultant has done his business, we're going to raise it to $697. So again, you can act now. You can go self-study $497, 3 payments of $167, or the full mastermind $997, or 3 payments of $347. And I'd love to have you join either one of those. So that said, I'm Bill Gross. This is showing you how to implement the systems I use to build my business. I gross revenue in my commission, which is great. I built, in addition to that, side businesses that relate to my probate business, this being one of them, getting commissions on the probate advances, as well as selling this package. I can show you how to do the same thing yourself. I'm not some coach who used to do business and is teaching you what worked back in the 80s. This is what I'm doing today. I love to have you do it right next to me together. If I can help anyway, please reach out. Please make a decision soon, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.